Again, thinking about this in like the last couple of days after the conversation with Nix, a part of me was like, yo, it's got to get to a point where I can't keep getting blamed, quote unquote, for blaming the player who doesn't want to do something, even if it's not taking accountability. I don't even have to use that term, but at some point I can't keep like taking the heat for trying to help players and then them getting mad about the help being provided for them. There was something that I read recently, obviously about me, wink, wink, but there was something that I read recently, two things actually. One of them was talking about how they liked how I thought outside of the box and that it helped them become a better player. But they didn't like that I came off as like blaming the player, and that they wished I would be more on the player side, i.e. blaming the developers for things versus quote unquote shilling the company. But I don't shill the company, right? Like anyone that's actually, if you've watched my streams, if you've seen me do polls, if you've listened to me in the Discord, if you hear me bitch on Twitter, I'm never shilling the community. I actively go against most of the gacha games. I actively say I hate gacha games, right? Despite me playing them, obviously that's a little bit of a, double-edged sword there. But ultimately, I don't encourage people to pull. I tell them what to do in regards to what options they've provided for me. It's really weird whenever, like for instance, this one still bothers me. I don't remember the name of that pack. The Victorian house ticket thingy, right? You guys remember that? How much was it? I think it was 1,500 or 1,300 polychrome, something like that. The actual math behind it was like 10 or 12 bucks, 10 to 15 bucks, something like that, right? But it gave you 35, I think is what it was. It gives you 35 Victorian tickets to go use for disk drives so that you could just run it up. You could just run it up, right? And you get 35 runs without using your stamina for the cost of like a coffee at Starbucks, right? Or 2 coffees at Starbucks. And so what I said at that time, if you spend money on the game, buy this thing. When I said that, somehow everyone in there, not everyone obviously, but so many people in the comment section, now you're trying to get free to plays to go against free to play and become whales and spend money. Now you're trying to encourage people to give more money to the developers. Now you're trying to encourage people to break their bank. What part of if you spend money on the game didn't you hear? Right? Like, yo, bro, if you're already driving past my house, can you pick me up? I'll give you gas money. You want me to stop for 30 seconds to pick you up, knowing that it's right there in front of where I'm going, to take you to the same exact location that I'm going? No, get your own ride, brother. Spend that gas money on a bus ticket. Okay, I guess it's so far-fetched, so far off from like what I'm actually talking about. But anyway, not to harp on that too long, I brought that up simply for the sake of I'm never encouraging somebody to do these things just to like get it the fuck out there, right? Like, oh yeah, shill the company, whatever. I'm giving you the option that's allegedly going to help you in these scenarios because, and this goes into something else that I was going to talk about, I can't do everything for you. No one can. Not a single content creator or player can do everything for everyone. It's not possible. At some point you have to take, and again, I don't even want to use the term accountability here, but it's a perfect term to use. You have to take control over your own action. I bitch about some shit all the time. Y'all literally were just in call with me and Nix and Ren and Chaotic. I bitch about content all the time and whether or not I want to do something or don't do something, right? You have to take control. At some point, I gotta get up. I gotta shit or get up, right? I have to get up. I have to do something. I have to make a move. And when it comes to the gacha space, I don't understand why this is so prevalent only here. I'm gonna explain why I always say it's only here. It's only in the gacha space that I've ever dealt with that. I've been playing Marvel Rivals like crack cocaine lately, all right? I've been on it. I recently picked up Psylocke. I was terrified of learning Psylocke because I love Genji in Overwatch, but Genji was very complicated for me to try and learn whenever the game first came out. So I just avoided learning Genji, right? And I became more of like a supporter, a strategist type character because they're easier for me to pick up and understand. And I get more of the, I can see everything. Then after learning strategist, I eventually learned tank. I love being in the front, tanking the hits, right? Because I don't die. I can still do damage. And as long as I have somebody supporting me in the back, like a healer, it keeps me alive longer. You get what I'm going at, right? I recently learned Psylocke in Marvel Rivals. Now I'm not the best by any means, right? But I'm learning Psylocke and she's so fun. I'm getting very aware, which means I've been very invested in the Rivals space as a whole. I'm quiet, I'm learning, I'm absorbing the information, I'm watching streamers, I'm watching content, I'm looking at TikToks, I'm barely commenting in the sections, right? I'm just trying to learn as much information. I'm asking questions, I'm getting answers, I'm getting yelled at in the comms. Well, actually I don't, because I'm doing very well with Psylocke in my rank, but you know, little things like that, right? I'm just taking it in bit by bit. Why I'm bringing this up is because Psylocke is seen currently as a broken DPS. Her, Bucky, Daredevil, Invis, which I happen to main before she got buffed, but a lot of these characters are seen as broken. And so instead of everyone going, yo, we're not going to play the game, the developer should fix the game, blah, 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 whatever, they have come up with counters. They're talking about different strategy and tech. They're talking about, yo, if you see Invis, just ban her. If you know that player's an Invis player, ban her. If you have an Invis, guess what? Play Daredevil, right? If you're terrified of Invis, pick up Daredevil or pick up Blade or somebody that can handle the invisible mark. Like they're doing different counter strategies, right? That's all it is. And so I'm just learning about what to do in these different scenarios that help you get around some stuff. And in Rivals, very similar to how you can relate to a gacha game, right? While Rivals gives you access to all of the characters within your playing experience or whatever, just because you have access to all of the characters does not mean you know how to play all of the characters and all of the roles. So I like to relate Rivals to when I talk about Zenless, for instance, because Zenless, even if I gave you access to all of the characters or all of the archetypes, one, that doesn't mean that you know how to play everybody. And two, that doesn't mean that you want to play everybody or that they're the best matchups for whatever you're trying to face. You still have to learn it. So at some point you have to take control, you have to take the lead, and you have to put in a little bit of work. What happens in the gacha space, again, I don't understand why. It's so prevalent. Yo, I don't want to take control of anything. I just want the developer to do whatever, right? Like it's their fault. And it's like, but you're still playing the game, right? Like when Apex Legends, because that was actually the developer's fault. Like they kept fucking the game up. They made horrible balance changes to the game. All of the top streamers quit playing the game. Why I bring that up? The developers refused to fix the problem actively for patches. It was almost a full year of Apex not being in a good state. So you know what they did? Players quit. They moved on to different games. Top streamers and content creators quit. They moved on to different games. Coincidentally, Rivals came out during the peak of Apex being fucked up. Top creators and streamers moved over to Rivals. Overwatch had these same issues where the developers were fucking up the game, according to the community, moved over to a different game. And you know what they did after that? Apex and Overwatch both went, we're losing players. Our top streamers are leaving the game. Wait a minute. What's going on? And they finally looked at what the problems were. Oh, it is our fault. And as a result of players quitting the game, you refuse to do the thing that is more comfortable for me or in my favor as a player. You're making the game worse. I'm no longer going to play the game. I'm no longer going to support the game. And they moved the fuck on. And now, as a result of that, the games have been fixed. Those issues for Apex and Overwatch that the community was like, yo, these are ruining the game, fixed. Apex is always gonna have audio bugs. I know that's a big one, but yo, man, it's always gonna have audio bugs. They're never gonna fix, it's EA. They will never fix the hacker issues. I promise you that. They will never fix them. And I say all that though, right? The same thing. And I understand what Nix was saying after the conversation. Again, I thought about it. And so Nix was like, yo, you can't, like, no one wants to hear like quit or submit. I totally understand that, especially coming from a place of like, I really do love the game. I really do enjoy the game, but you are fighting a giga company. You're fighting a company that does not give a fuck about you at all. Right? Especially when you, I don't want to say do things that they clearly don't care about, but what I mean by that is, let's say we have track records of this happening where you make so much noise that the company has to listen. Then you have, and you get the result. Perfect example of that is Staffahoma, Tectone, right? Got 20 something fucking wolves gravestones, clearly spent a ton of money. The company had no choice but to listen, because as a result of that, guess what happened? Not only did US based players or EN based players immediately stop spending money on the game or the weapon banner, DN and Japanese players did the same thing. We all saw what happened at Tech and like, yo, that immediately stopped. What happened? I think it was like the very next patch. They fixed that shit immediately. Hey, here's like, you're still spending money, but now it's guaranteed after you get fucked up so many times, right? Boom. done. And then at this point now they fixed it so that it works exactly like the character banner, which is a little better, not as bad as before, but still a 50-50, right? Boom. So that's how that happened. An example of that not working though, right? So what not to do was the Natlin situation. Hey man, Natlin taking from the tribal stuff of ethnic groups. We feel like Natlin should have darker skinned characters. Why would you make Mualani less dark? We're no longer going to support the game. But they all didn't quit. They continued to play the game. As a result of that, Genshin said, damn, you guys don't stand on shit. Make more light-skinned Natlin characters. You know what? Whitewash them. Fuck it. Don't even address it. Just do it. And so they did it. They got away with it. Now we're in Nodcry era. Oh my God, Nodcry is amazing. I love Genshin. It's so great. You know the meme with Homelander after he laser beams that dude for throwing a bottle at his son? And he goes, that was Genshin. That was lit. The moment Natlin happened, Genshin went and they kept going. That is why I have, well, that's one of the reasons that I have like the quit or submit mentality about a lot of things. You guys don't understand the power you have behind that. Just stopping the game. I'm gonna open up about something that obviously everyone doesn't know. Whenever I stopped making Star Rail content, I immediately got hit up. Immediately. The moment I made that Caster's video, and mind you, why my video had more impact. I don't want to say no one else's video had impact because I don't know if they had any conversations. I'm only going off the conversation that I had with Hoyo themselves. Why my video received the impact that it did, or gave them the impact that it did, was because I didn't give a fuck about Castrus and the global passive. That wasn't the issue. I wasn't riding the coattail of global passive. My issue was like the game is not in a good state. It's not healthy right now. The end game sucks dick. The characters are moving in a particular direction that is not good. There are no 4-star characters. Like I made very valid points. Then I stopped for months. No more Star Rail. Hey, here's CE server. Can you make some videos? Nah. Hey, here's CE's. We'll pay you. Can you make some? Y'all fix those issues? Well, we're not really obligated to say whether or not those specific issues were fixed or not. I'm good. I'm just, you can ask me next patch. We'll reassess this, right? And it kept going. You have more power than you think, both as a creator and a player. It is very impactful that you understand your ability to influence things. It's like a local internet provider. The second a competitor shows up and tells you I want to switch. Yes, you've been going to McDonald's or paying your, I'll use your phone bill, right? You've been paying your phone bill. Well, I'll use internet. You're going to like Frontier, right? Your internet company is Frontier. Frontier has shitty rates and you're always losing your signal, right? Every day your fucking internet drops off. Then all of a sudden Verizon introduces fiber into your neighborhood. You go over to Frontier like, yo, Verizon just dropped. I'm about to switch. And then now Frontier is like, whoa, why are you switching? What's going on? Man, I've been complaining to y'all for the last 6 months to a year about all the issues that I had. Fiber's over here now. None of the issues exist over there and it's cheaper. I'm going to fiber. Wait. That's when they start hitting you with, we'll give you a two-year membership reduction. We'll change your plan so that you're paying a cheaper cost, but we still don't fix any of the issues. We're working on the issues. It's just going to take us 5 years. Well, until those 5 years pass and you fix those issues, I'm going to be over here not having those fucking issues and spending less money. These are real world scenarios that I talk about, and I relate it to the gacha game experience, and it's like it doesn't fucking click. It goes in one and out the other, and I'm like, brother, why are y'all like this? Why are y'all fucking like this, bro? Yo, you became a Starlight Knight. God damn, yo. I want you guys to understand the whole, like, why I blame the player. Actually, that's the time. I didn't even make this a video, but now it's a video because this perfectly explains what I'm talking about. I'm not blaming the player because I'm for the company. I'm not. I don't care about the company like that. And again, being honest with you guys, something that you guys don't know, but I know, and obviously a couple other people know, I am extremely jaded with Hoyoverse at the moment. Hoyoverse, which I have talked about because now I think it's public since the Brack shit, but whatever. Hoyoverse at one point had a creator program. Now, this isn't the creator program that a lot of you guys are aware of. A lot of you guys are aware of the creator program, or rather creator access, that gives you like the CE server or something like that, right? That's not what I'm talking about. Before, and mind you, the reason I say a lot of you guys don't know about it is because the people that were telling y'all about the creator programs and all they're the bullshit weren't actually aware of what the actual creator program was, right? So there's a program, which again, like access for creators or whatever the And then there was an entire program that had, guys, I promise you, everybody would want to be a Hoyo creator if you had an inkling of what this program was. This creator program was set up by a completely different like team within Hoyoverse. And this creator program was set up so that it would help smaller creators become the bigger creators. So like your dishes, your Tuantos, your at the time, your Atsus, your Braxophones, your Sevis, right? Everybody that was already at the top, they had a program for creators during Star Rail's launch, right? Like shortly after the launch of Star Rail, they purposely picked out creators that were smaller and had a lot of promise. And they invited us to Cali, they invited us to the buildings, they invited us to private parties, whatever. We met literal, like how everyone sees and like meets Dwayne or meets the guy that runs Kuro and all that, like at Kuro Fest. There was a small select amount of creators that were invited to this thing that were able to do that, myself included. And we got to have a whole rundown. We had a whole like PowerPoint, whatever. I have all the footage of it, can't show it because of the NDA shit. I'm not allowed to show the footage, but I can absolutely talk about it. That is what they told me. So promises were made, programs were put in production. Like they were just getting active. They wanted to make it so that if you happen to be a creator that built up like relationships and trust or whatever with Hoyo, they would get you right. This was also not the alleged contract that pays you $9 million a year, right? This wasn't that either. That was a completely different thing. This was setting you up so that you would be a successful content creator with all the tools and resources available to you. I'm talking about fucking exclusive TikTok. They had, before TikTok had live streaming, they had exclusive TikTok programs that would help get your, which is basically like a boost in the algorithm, essentially, if you want to like shorthand it. But they had exclusive programs that would help get your content inside of a Hoyo specific algorithm on TikTok in order to help you grow. And then they were using it not just to help you grow, like not like, oh, we're just gonna boost your numbers and whatever happens. No, it was a YouTube class. We literally had the tech guys, I forget what they're called, but the dudes that run the analytics and understand the algorithm and work for YouTube. We have them, or had them, a part of that team. They were at these events. We were able to talk with them. We had them in our Discords, our cell phone numbers, whatever. We had all access to this. And then the Brax, Tectone, Atsu, whatever thing happened, and the program went away. Every single one a part of that program just gone. The entire team, the executives, everyone fucking gone. And again, I've never talked about this with any of you guys, data analysts, thank you. I'm extremely jaded with the company for that. The entire scenario, I've been jaded with them since that. That was last year. I've been extremely jaded with that whole thing. So when people say, why are you shilling the company? You're for the developer. No, the fuck I'm not. I'm telling you guys how to get what you want while still getting what you want. And again, that concept, because of my tone, I get it, doesn't come across in the same fashion or way that you would want to receive it. Me being an asshole, usually I don't care how it comes out, right? I'm gonna say it how it is, and then it is what it is, right? I'll address it later. I've learned can't really do that without dealing with the consequences of it. I don't like the consequences, so I work on it. I try to change the way that I inform people, address things, right? I try. You guys see that. Some people don't, but you guys that watch me, you guys see it. I take a lot of pauses. I think about some stuff. I write it down. I bring Nixon call to talk about it, whatever, right? So as I'm explaining these things about like the developers and the player relationships and the things that you have, the options that you have, it's never about me saying don't point out the developer issue or the issue with the game. No, that. You can point it out, you can bitch about it, you can talk about it, whatever. I'm talking about making a state of action. You can bitch 24/7 as long as your feet are moving. Continue moving forward. The moment you bitch and don't do anything, now we have a problem. Another example of that from my own personal experience, right? Content. Again, a lot of y'all don't know that, but I go through fucking like imposter syndrome like a motherfucker, all right? So when I talk about content, that's why Chaotic the other day, man, I've talked to this motherfucker for like half the year about what he should do, and he knows what to do. He has these bomb ass ideas that we see them work. We know they'd work. They're guaranteed to work. EO knows content. He understands how YouTube works as a platform. He just studies content all the time. He knows what to do, but he never acts on it. That's the imposter syndrome, right? Boom. No state of action. I'm bitching with no real movement. So what does that mean? EO's being a bitch right now. He can't do that. Can't do that. No, he can't be a bitch. So I promote not being a bitch. And again, I understand phrasing. I'm hype right now. Okay. So it is what it is. But what I'm saying, right, is that I promote not being a bitch. Control what you can control and then deal with whatever you can't control, however that may be. I cannot control what the developers do. It's outside of my control. I can control what I'm able to do in the game with my own account, with my own money, with whatever excess money I have. So I'm giving you the information, I'm helping you with the tools so that you can do that thing. But again, now I understand everyone doesn't receive information the same way, right? You guys don't receive it that way. When you hear what I'm talking about, it sounds like I'm just coming at you. Why are you always blaming the player and not the developer? Because I want you to be better. I know a lot of you, some of y'all are fucking lost causes, but I know a lot of y'all can be better, okay? Everybody not stupid. A lot of y'all not idiots. You pretend to be an idiot, but you're not an idiot. Some of you guys, though, are genuinely fucking stupid. I'm not apologizing for that. The rest of y'all, EO loves the Zenless Zone Zero community. He wants it to be better. Get that through your thick fucking skulls. I'm not telling people to not address things with the developers or not point out issues. I'm telling you, bitch and keep moving, because the developers will not care until you make action. Once you show them why they should give a fuck, that's when things start to change. If you skip to this part of the video for somehow, because there's no timestamps, whatever, please refer to what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned Overwatch 2, Marvel Rivals, the Genshin and Natlan situation, right? Please refer to all of these examples, and I'm sure you guys know of these things too if you play other games or maybe like sports or anything in life, right? It's literally real life. When you bitch and nothing comes of it, right? Because you're just doing whatever, that is when they get away with continuing to do the thing that you don't like. You can send 40 letters, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this or stories like this. Sending letters of complaints or complaint letters, whatever. You can send as many letters as you want, surveys, to Zenless Zone Zero developer team. That is not going to dictate them changing anything. That might influence whether or not they're thinking about it, but at the end of the day, hey man, a lot of our players are bitching about Thrall. I don't know. Let's read why. Read why. Would any of this impact our financial gain that we're currently trying to like go on the rise now? Yes. Ignore it. Don't do it. Come back to it later. Focus on more money. And that's what they do. But you know what would counteract that? A lot of people send us surveys about Thrall and like why they think he's the worst boss in the game. Me personally, I don't agree, obviously, but go along with my analogy. A lot of people think Thrall is bad. Why? Okay, we're reading. Is any of this impacting our financial, gain? Well, no, but in the last 2 months, we have lost over 1.5 million players, active players, and we've only gained 200,000 new players. That will immediately make them go, whoa, wait. What do you mean by that? We lost active players? Then they're gonna go through and they're gonna start checking the tapes, right? Checking the numbers. Okay, wait. We lost 1.5 million, but hear me out. Those are all free-to-play players, right? Boss man, at least 780 of them, 80 million, right? 780 million were whales. They spent at least $500 to $3,000 a month. We lost a lot of fucking revenue. What? And they're immediately gonna turn around and go, how do we fix this? Make changes right now. Make a whole different developer stream. Get in the office right now. Make a script. Get on the live stream and do what you got to do. 780,000. My bad, could say. I don't like math. I don't like math. They're immediately going to get in the lab and fix and look at whatever the problem is. Why? Because a state of action has been made. A plan of action has been executed by the people. You have more power than you realize, but because players don't want to act on that, oh, I love Genshin way too much, I can never quit. Even though I hate Natlan, as a black person, Natlan makes me feel some type of way. But you continue to play the game, right? What happened in Star Rail? Caster's bad, global passive bad. If you support global passive, worst thing ever in existence. This is gonna ruin the game. And then the same people that told you that turned around and bought Castris. They E6'd her. It is quite literally making a plan of action and then going or sticking to it. It is never, at least from EO's case, never about being on the developer side. Guys, I promise you, I don't give 4 fucks if you like or don't like the developer. I don't give 3 fucks if you think that this is exclusively a developer problem and there's nothing you can do about it. If I turn the game on, if I watch footage, if I see somebody else turn the game on and they come up with a solution, you are immediately invalidated. Not your feelings towards the issue. Your statement about there is nothing you can do is immediately invalidated. That is all I care about. I don't care about the feelings. You're allowed to feel the way you do, hate the company, whatever the fuck else. I don't care. That has nothing to do with me. That's never been anywhere close to how I felt about the community or the game or the players, whatever. I care about plans of actions. What are you doing to alleviate that scenario? Damn, I really don't like that I can't beat Thrall. All right, let's figure it out. Why can't you beat Thrall? Well, you know, I focused everything into like Anomaly, and I have these other attack characters, but I really just don't want to play them. I don't want to learn them. I don't want to build them, whatever the case may be, right? Okay, great. So you have options. You just don't want to do those options, right? Like, are we on the same page right now? Oh, well, I really don't like the way you said that. I really do feel like this is purely a developer thing. I'm the fuck out. Wait a minute. So you acknowledge that this thing can be beaten with your other 4 or 5 options that you have in your account right now. You have 4 or 5 options that you can use right now to beat this thing, to get your polychrome or the fuck, and then never fight it again. You acknowledge that, but somehow we're still blaming the developer. Okay. Well, yeah, because why would the developer make it like that? Who gives a fuck? They did it. Thank you. Right? Matchups wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't there. And like, I completely understand this. And I have to say the but, because Nix and I had that conversation. I loved his idea. I think, and again, keep in mind, those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, it's like, I don't even think I'm going to make it into a video. It's stream exclusive. Like y'all are cooked. You had to have been in the stream. We had a very productive conversation where Nix explained to me how more players felt, or rather what it sounded like the players would feel like whenever I talk the way I do about quote unquote blaming the player, right? I get it. One of those things that he mentioned, which I'm going to talk about here in like a couple seconds, was the actual issue being a developer issue. And it's been a developer issue since 1.4, which was Bringer. And I agree. And I've also said that. However, Nix went like way more in depth about how to fix the issue. And this is where Nix bitching about the developer issue is different than the community bitching about the developer issue. Why, EO? That's not fair. You're excluding it because he's your friend. No, because Nix gave a solution that would work. And it would solve all the fucking issues that everybody's complaining about, not hurt the developer pocket, and make the game better. What is everyone else doing? Well, I'm gonna bitch because I want my polys. This isn't fun for me because I can't get my polys. The game is making me do extra work, so that's not fun. How do you fix it? Oh, well, I really think they should do insert thing that only caters towards me. That's not cool. That doesn't help anybody but you. You're not helping. Here are the things you could do to make that a little better for yourself, though. I don't want to do all that. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. Is that acceptable? Can we do that? No. No. It just fuck, bro. So like, I don't know, guys. Ultimately, I think a lot can be done when you express issues towards the developer. And I'm in favor. I even send in the same, when you guys make up those big Google documents about the survey and like what you should put in there or like how you feel, I'm right there with you. I'm behind you. I'm still sending it in. But I'm not going to stand still. That's my whole thing. Even if I'm right there in the crowd bitching with you, I'm not standing still. I can't. I'm either going to stop playing the game, which y'all have seen me do a multitude of times, or I'm going to figure out how to do whatever the fuck it is that I'm struggling against, ask questions, learn new information, learn new combos, learn new tech, whatever. And for the most part, there's never been a time where like nothing exists, like there's never an answer. So I can't even say if there's no answer, then I'll do whatever. It is what it is. And you proceed forward from there. And like, yo, Aftershock is a great example of like people explaining and sending in surveys like, yo, this shit is dog shit. And you know what players did as a result, which I don't think was actually brought up, but we did have the data from the developers. And that was one of the reasons why they did it. The developers came out and during one of their dev streams, if I'm not mistaken, then they said like the unit, Tanby, just wasn't being played. She just came out and like no one was playing her, despite her having at that time a higher than pull rate, right? Being the poster child. Trigger was being used in non-Aftershock teams primarily over the unit that she was supposed to be used with. And it's like, but those are in-game results showing them what's going on. And like, what do we need to do for that? Then they included the surveys. Then they looked at all the videos. Some of you guys think that they don't watch YouTubers. Some of the people in the community think that they don't watch YouTubers, but they do. Again, giving you guys insider information. They absolutely watch YouTubers. Whether or not they agree with whatever the YouTuber is saying is completely irrelevant. Some YouTubers have been passed off as like, we're just not going to listen to this at all because they have a track record of making too many inflammatory things. Some don't get looked at because of leaks and then they move on from that, right? But that doesn't mean that the information can't get to them in the event that that needs to happen. So it is what it is. I don't know. I don't really need to ask anyone to let me know your thoughts for the end of this video because this was like a pure rant. But I think this rant encapsulates how I typically think and move when it comes to the whole blame player versus developer thing. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. I completely understand that the beginning of this video was like hot. All right, I get it. I'm heated today, not at the game, not at the community. I'm heated because of fucking Elgato. In the end of it all, I hear y'all. Sometimes right there with y'all, I keep it moving, I keep it pushing. When I can't push no more, that's when you're gonna see it. That's I didn't know he had animation cancels for like the full thing.
What are you talking about?
No.
You made a whole point of it being of you doing cancels. It was
But
animation.
I thought it was,
good.
listen, I did not give Zenless this much credit. I thought it was a regular cancel, like push the button, continue the stream. But you're